Meditation is something that has helped me so much in the past 10 or so years of my life. It's a practice that requires patience, requires dedication, but it doesn't require that, we sit and meditate for an hour. And that's really what I want you to experience over the next 2 weeks, is that we can feel the benefits of meditation by just practicing for 5 or so minutes a day. Of course, the longer we practice, the more often we do it, we're going to feel more effects. But we're going to start where we are. We all have to start where we are. The other thing I wanted to mention about meditation as we begin is that we often have an idea that meditation is about stopping ourselves from thinking, that we should not be having thoughts while we're meditating. And then when we do meditate and we do have thoughts, somehow there's this feeling of we're not doing it right, and that we're failing because we're thinking. So the goal of meditation is not to stop the mind from thinking. The goal of meditation is to get a little bit of distance from the thoughts that we always have. So the job of your mind is to think, and it's a good thing that it can think for us, right? We have these beautiful minds that do all this thinking, but we do want to have a little bit of control over when we think and when we don't think, right? It's nice to be able to kind of turn the mind off at times to give it a little bit of a rest. It's also nice to be able to gain a little bit, like I said before, of distance, or I like to think of it as freedom from our reactions that we have to our thoughts. And the reactions can be emotions that we have, or they can be physical actions. So when we begin to gain a little bit of that distance from the thoughts that we're having, when we begin to be able to perceive our thoughts, to witness them, to notice them without reaction, right? So gaining what we say in yoga or meditation, equanimity. So non-judgment, non-reaction to the things that we're thinking, the things that are going on in our mind, then this buys us a little bit more freedom. It also buys us a whole lot other benefits, right? A little bit of clarity, grounding, relaxation, presence. But this is really what I see as the main benefit of meditation, is having that freedom from reacting to our thoughts. Okay, so the mind, it likes to travel, I like to say, right? So our mind, very often, the mind is not in the present moment. Where does our mind like to travel to? Our mind likes to travel into the future. So as you're sitting here right now, listening to my voice, might even be thinking about at the same time, something that you need to do right after this. Or sometimes the mind, it likes to travel back into the past, right? And we might be doing a project, or we might be sitting here for meditation and thinking about something that had just happened this morning, right? So one of the things that we also like to do when we're practicing meditation is keeping the mind in this moment right now, and becoming aware of when we notice our mind traveling off into the future or traveling back into the past. And the way that we can keep our mind present is by using an anchor. So I like to use the analogy of a boat, right? And a sailboat that is sailing in the wind, right? And if there's a really, really strong wind or a strong current, that boat is going to be taken away. It doesn't have an anchor. So you can think of that boat as your mind, right? So the mind, it needs an anchor to stay present in this moment. So the anchor that we like to use, there's a lot of different ways and different styles of yoga. So the one that we're going to use, the anchor, is going to be, at least for the first few days, maybe this whole week, is going to be physical sensations. So we're going to really notice the parts of our body that are touching the floor. We're going to notice the sensation of our breath. We're going to use physical sensations as the anchor to keep our mind present in this moment and in our body.